Most high earners have one sentence they love saying: I maxed my 401k, and listen, that is good, that is responsible, that is adult behavior. That is the kind of sentence people say right before they compare dishwasher decibel ratings. But here is the mistake. Maxing your 401k is not a retirement plan. It is one account, a very useful account, a tax-advantaged account, but still one account. In 2026, the regular employee 401k contribution limit is $24,500. That is real money. But if you make $300,000 a year, that max contribution is about 8.2% of your income. If you make $400,000, it is about 6.1%. If you make $500,000, it is under 5%. So yes, you maxed the bucket. The problem is, the bucket may be too small for the lifestyle you are quietly building around it. And that is the high earner 401k trap. Not that the 401k is bad, the trap is that it feels complete. There is a green check mark. There is an employer match. There is a target date fund with a very serious year attached to it. There is a login screen that says retirement, which is apparently enough to make a person feel spiritually diversified. But a retirement plan is not a login screen. It is a system. How much are you saving? Where are you saving it? What taxes are you choosing now versus later? What money is flexible? What money is locked behind age rules? What happens if your income goes up but your savings rate does not? What happens if your lifestyle expands faster than your assets? That is the real game. The 401k is one piece of the board. High earners often treat it like they have already won the game because the account has a cap and they hit the cap. This is the same energy as finishing the appetizer and asking where your beach house is. So in this video, we are going to break down the mistake in 5 parts. First, why maxing your 401k is genuinely a strong move. Second, why the cap becomes smaller as your income gets bigger. Third, why tax diversification matters more than people think. Fourth, why liquidity outside retirement accounts is not optional if you want choices. And fifth, how to think about the system around the 401k without turning your life into a spreadsheet cult. This is not personal financial advice. It is an educational framework. Your tax situation, employer plan, investment options, income, age, goals, and tolerance for paperwork all matter. But the core idea is simple. Maxed is not the same as planned. Part 1, the 401k is useful. We should start here because the internet loves false binaries. One side says max your 401k no matter what. The other side says retirement accounts are a trap because you cannot buy a jet ski with them at age 37. Both sides need a nap. A good 401k can do several useful things. It can automate saving directly from your paycheck, which is great because humans are famously bad at manually doing the financially optimal thing every 2 weeks. It can reduce current taxable income if you use traditional pre-tax contributions. It may offer Roth contributions if your plan allows them. It may come with an employer match, which is one of the few phrases in finance that is not just a velvet rope around a fee. And it can help you invest consistently through good markets, bad markets, and whatever emotional weather event is happening on financial television that week. So no, this is not a video telling you to ignore your 401k. If your employer offers a match, ignoring it is often like walking past money on the sidewalk because the sidewalk did not have your aesthetic. The 401k is good. The mistake is when high earners stop thinking after that. Because the account has a limit, your income may not, your lifestyle may not, your tax problem may not, your future spending may absolutely not, and this is where a lot of smart people get surprisingly casual. Part 2, the cap gets smaller. The IRS limit for regular employee 401 contributions in 2026 is $24,500. Again, real money. But now let us look at it as a percentage of income. At $150,000 of income, $24,500 is about 16.3%. That is in the neighborhood of many common savings rate rules of thumb. At $200,000 of income, it is about 12.3%. At $300,000, it is about 8.2%. At $400,000, it is about 6.1%. At $500,000, it is about 4.9%. Same contribution. Very different plan. That is the weird thing about capped accounts. The cap feels like achievement, but as income rises, the cap becomes a smaller part of the system. If you make $150,000 and max the account, you may be saving a meaningful slice of gross income through that one channel. If you make $500,000 and max the account, you may be doing something useful, but it is not even 5% of gross income before employer match. And if your household has decided it now needs the upgraded house, the upgraded car, the upgraded vacation, the upgraded grocery store where every tomato appears to have a personal brand strategist, then 5% is probably not the retirement engine you think it is. This is how lifestyle creep hides. It does not usually announce itself. It does not walk in wearing a sign that says, "I am about to eat your compounding." It just quietly raises the baseline. The first nice apartment becomes the normal apartment. The first business class flight becomes, honestly, it helps my back. The first expensive dinner becomes, we should do this more often. Then suddenly you are maxing your 401k, making a lot of money, and somehow your net worth is moving with the confidence of a sleepy elevator. The issue is not moral. You are allowed to enjoy money. The issue is mathematical. If the spending base rises with income, but savings outside the 401k does not rise with it, the 401k cap can give you emotional cover for a plan that is underfunded. And that is why the first question is not, did I max my 401k? It is, what percentage of income am I actually saving across all accounts? Not just retirement accounts, all accounts. Part 3, maxed, is step 1, not fully funded. Let us use a simple hypothetical. Suppose a high-earning household wants to save 20% of gross income. That is not a universal rule. It is just an easy planning example. At $200,000 of income, 20% is $40,000. Maxing the 401k at $24,500 leaves a gap of $15,500. At $300,000, 20% is $60,000. The 401k max leaves a gap of $35,500. At $400,000, the 20% target is $80,000. The gap is $55,500. At $500,000, the 20% target is $100,000. The gap is $75,500. That is not a small rounding error. That is a whole second financial life standing in the hallway, quietly judging your confidence. This is why I maxed my 401k can be both true and insufficient. It is like saying, I went to the gym once this week. Good. Better than zero. But if your plan was to become a marathon runner and also you celebrated with a milkshake the size of a municipal project, we need a little more context. For high earners, the second layer often matters more than the first. What happens after the match? What happens after the 401k max? Where do the next dollars go? Do they sit in cash because you are waiting for a better time for 7 years? Do they get absorbed by lifestyle? Do they go into a taxable brokerage account? Do they go toward an HSA if you are eligible and it fits your health plan? Do they go toward backdoor Roth strategies if appropriate and correctly executed? Do they pay down expensive debt? Do they build the flexibility to change jobs, start a business, or retire before the official retirement account timeline wants to cooperate? This is the system. The 401k is not the system. It is one high-quality container inside the system. Part 4, tax diversification. Here is another high earner trap. Many people build almost everything inside one tax bucket, usually pre-tax retirement accounts. Pre-tax accounts are useful because they may reduce taxable income today. But the trade-off is that withdrawals are generally taxed later as ordinary income. That can be fine. It can be excellent. It can also become awkward if future you has a lot of pre-tax money, taxable income from other sources, required distributions later in life, and the quiet realization that the government did not forget about you. It was simply waiting. This is not a prediction that your tax rate will definitely be higher later. Nobody knows that. Anyone who says they know exactly where tax rates will be 30 years from now should also be asked for next week's lottery numbers and their skincare routine. The point is flexibility. Different tax buckets give future you more options. Pre-tax money may give you a deduction now and taxable withdrawals later. Roth money generally uses after-tax contributions and can provide tax-free qualified withdrawals later. Taxable brokerage money is more flexible, can be accessed before traditional retirement age, and has its own tax treatment depending on dividends, interest, and capital gains. Cash gives you optionality and prevents your investment accounts from becoming emergency ATMs. None of these buckets is universally best. That is the point. The question is not, which bucket is magical? The question is, do I have too much of my future trapped in one tax outcome? A lot of high earners do. They max the pre-tax 401k, feel efficient, and never build a flexible taxable account. Then they say they want to retire early. To which the spreadsheet replies politely, with what bridge? Part 5, liquidity. Retirement accounts are built for retirement. This is not a design flaw. It is literally the label. But high earners often have goals that do not fit neatly into the age-based retirement account framework. Maybe you want to take a sabbatical. Maybe you want to leave a high-paying job before it finishes turning your personality into a calendar invite. Maybe you want to start a company. Maybe you want one parent to step back from work. Maybe you want to buy a home without harvesting your entire financial life like a confused farmer. Maybe you want work to become optional before 65. That requires flexible money. And flexible money is usually not the same as, I maxed my 401k. A taxable brokerage account is not as tax sheltered as a 401k, but it is flexible. A cash reserve is not exciting, but it lets you avoid selling investments or raiding retirement money when life starts throwing furniture. High earners sometimes dislike cash because it feels inefficient, and yes, too much cash can be inefficient. But zero flexibility is also inefficient. It just hides the inefficiency until the moment you need choices. This is the part of finance where optimization can become cosplay. People will spend 3 hours debating whether their 401k expense ratio should be 0.04 or 0.06%, while their entire emergency plan is, I hope nothing weird happens. Something weird always happens. Your money system should know that. Part 6. Employer stock and concentration. Another common high earner issue is concentration. This is especially relevant if you work in tech, finance, startups, or any company where compensation arrives with a ticker symbol attached and a small emotional support vesting schedule. You may already depend on your employer for salary, then you may hold employer stock, then your bonus may depend on the same company, then your professional network may depend on the same industry. Then your 401k may be invested heavily in the same sector through broad funds or company stock options, depending on the plan. Individually, each piece can make sense. Together, it can become one large bet wearing different hats. This is not about hating your company. Your company may be great. It may also be one board meeting, one recession, one product miss, one regulatory issue, or one executive saying strategic realignment away from making your net worth sweat. Concentration is not always bad. Concentration is how many fortunes are built. But unmanaged concentration is how many fortunes become a cautionary slide. So part of the high earner 401 Christopher Meg review is not just contribution rate, it is total exposure. Where does your income come from? Where does your equity come from? Where do your retirement investments point? Where does your real estate exposure sit? Are you actually diversified, or did you just buy the same risk in 5 outfits? Part 7. Fees and investment choices. Your 401k plan may be excellent. It may have low-cost index funds, good target date funds, sensible menus, and clear administration. Or it may have fund choices that look like they were selected during a lunch meeting in 2007 and never emotionally processed. High earners should know what they own, not obsessively, not in a way that ruins dinner, but enough to answer basic questions. What is your asset allocation? What are the expense ratios? Are you invested according to your time horizon and risk tolerance? Are you using a target date fund intentionally or because it was the default, and the default had a soothing year in the name? Are you holding too much cash inside the plan? Are you accidentally duplicating the same exposure across multiple funds? This is not about becoming a portfolio manager. It is about avoiding the classic move of maxing the 401k, then never checking whether the money is actually doing the job. Automation is good. Autopilot into a wall is less good. Tiny fees can matter over decades. Bad allocation can matter more. Panic behavior can matter most. So yes, look at fees. But do not let fee optimization become the tiny, impressive task that distracts from the big, boring question, are you saving enough, invested sensibly, and staying consistent? Part 8. The actual high earner framework. Here is a cleaner way to think about it. Your money should have jobs, not vibes. Jobs. Dollar job 1, protect the downside. That means emergency cash, insurance where appropriate, and not letting one bad month turn into a retirement withdrawal. Dollar job 2, capture the match. If your employer offers a match, understand it. Understand the vesting schedule. Understand whether you are contributing enough to get it. Dollar job 3, use tax advantage space intentionally. That may include a 401k, Roth 401k, traditional IRA, Roth IRA, backdoor Roth IRA, HSA, or other account types depending on eligibility, income, plan rules, and tax situation. The key word is intentionally. Not because someone on the internet shouted backdoor Roth like it was a spell. Dollar job 4, build flexible wealth. For many high earners, that means taxable brokerage assets outside retirement accounts. This is the bridge money, the optionality money, the money that lets you make a career decision without asking your 401k for permission. Dollar job 5, manage concentration and debt. If you have high interest debt, that may deserve priority. If you have concentrated stock, you need a plan. If your housing costs silently ate your entire raise, the 401k is not the villain. The lifestyle architecture is. Dollar job 6, review the plan annually, not daily. Daily finance checking is how people turn long-term investing into a weather app. Once or twice a year is often enough for many people to check contribution rates, account mix, beneficiaries, tax situation, asset allocation, cash reserves, debt, and goals. This is not glamorous, but glamour is not the assignment. The assignment is future freedom. Part 9, what this looks like in real life. Imagine 2 households. Both make $300,000. Both max a 401k. Household A stops there. They max the account, spend most of the rest, keep a little cash, and assume the retirement box is checked. Household B also maxes the 401k, but then saves additional money into a taxable brokerage account, keeps a real emergency reserve, manages company stock exposure, reviews tax buckets, and raises savings when income rises. Same headline behavior, very different system. From the outside, both people say, I maxed my 401k. But one sentence hides two completely different financial lives. This is why finance advice often sounds simple and then becomes personal very quickly. The right question is not, should high earners max the 401k? Often, yes, it can be a strong move. The better question is, what happens after that? Because after the 401k is where the high earner plan either becomes real or quietly disappears into lifestyle. Part 10, the checklist. Here is the practical review. Question 1. What percentage of gross income are you saving across all accounts? If your answer is only the 401k percentage, calculate the real number. Question 2. What is your employer match, and are you capturing it? Question 3. Are your contributions traditional, Roth, or a mix? Do you know why? Question 4. Do you have flexible assets outside retirement accounts? Question 5. Do you have enough cash to avoid making bad long-term decisions during short-term chaos? Question 6. Are you over-concentrated in employer stock, industry risk, real estate, or one asset class? Question 7. Are your 401k investments low-cost and appropriate for your time horizon? Question 8. If you want to retire early, where is the bridge money? Question 9. If your income rose this year, did your savings rise too, or did your lifestyle file a hostile takeover? Question 10. If you say, I am on track, what numbers prove it? That last one is the entire episode. What numbers prove it? Not vibes, not green check marks, not, I feel like I am doing better than most people, not my coworker is worse. That is not a retirement plan, that is a group project with strangers. The 401k is a great tool, but high earners need a system around the tool. Contribution rate, tax mix, liquidity, investment allocation, concentration risk, debt, cash, future spending, time horizon, that is the plan. The account is just where part of the plan lives. So yes, max the 401k if it fits your situation. Take the match if you can, use the tax advantages intelligently. But do not confuse a capped contribution with a complete strategy, because future you is not going to ask whether present you felt productive. Future you is going to ask whether the math worked. And if the answer is no, future you will not be impressed that you had a very organized benefits portal. Maxed is good, planned is better. That is the money signal.